If you truly want the truth about what's happening in the Iraqi dinar space, then this message is for you. The biggest mistake people make is chasing dates instead of understanding systems. I'm not here to tell you tomorrow is the day. I'm not handing you a guaranteed timeline. What I am going to do is give you the framework that allows you to recognize the difference between preparation and activation. Welcome back to Iraqi Dinar, where we analyze structure, not speculation. Here's the most important sentence of this entire discussion. A system being ready is not the same as a system being active. Building the machinery is not the same as flipping the switch. If you don't understand that distinction, every upgrade will look like an announcement, and every rumor will feel like confirmation. When a country decides to change how its currency interacts with the global financial system, whether that involves adjusting its exchange mechanism, expanding international trading access, or reconnecting its banking sector to the broader correspondent network, it cannot do that overnight. Doing so without preparation would create instability and chaos. Instead, months and sometimes years of infrastructure work happen quietly in the background. Payment clearing systems are upgraded. International messaging standards between banks are aligned so that institutions in New York, Frankfurt, or Tokyo can process transactions correctly. Local commercial banks must meet higher capital requirements because foreign banks will not transact with undercapitalized institutions. Anti-money laundering systems are strengthened. Know your customer frameworks are enforced. Legal notices and regulatory updates are prepared and published. Staff are trained. Systems are tested. All of this preparation often happens quietly. Public statements remain cautious while internal systems are being built and verified. That is normal. That is how central banking works. In recent years, the Central Bank of Iraq has issued reform roadmaps, operational guidance documents, and structured policy frameworks. These are not vague promises, they are institutional documents. They reflect a methodical reform process. But here is the key. Preparation does not equal activation. Until there is a formal, written public declaration describing a specific policy change and its operational mechanics, nothing has officially changed for the outside world. Many people focus heavily on foreign reserves. Iraq's reserve position, often cited at around $100 billion including gold, is significant. Strong reserves create credibility. They signal that a central bank has the capacity to defend its currency and manage volatility during transitions. But reserves alone do not trigger a revaluation. They are a foundation, not an event. They make a policy shift more believable and more manageable, but they do not flip the switch by themselves. Now let's talk about timing, because that's where the most emotional damage happens in this space. You may have heard February discussed as a window. Serious analysts don't assign guarantees to calendar dates. They describe conditions. Major monetary policy shifts generally require three aligned factors: technical readiness, political and security stability, and confidence from international banking partners. When those three align, a window opens. If one deteriorates, especially regional security, that window can close quickly. This is why geopolitical stability matters. International banks constantly assess risk. They expand exposure where stability exists. They pull back where uncertainty rises. Money flows toward safety. That is documented behavior, not opinion. Internal coordination inside Iraq also matters. A major exchange policy adjustment affects government budgets, contracts, imports, exports, wages, and public finance. It cannot be executed by the central bank alone. Ministries must coordinate. Legal frameworks must align. Regulations must be published. Sometimes political noise masks serious technical work happening underneath. Other times, political instability genuinely slows progress. The difference shows up in official documentation, not headlines. Now let's identify the single critical trigger. There is one event that converts readiness into activation. A formal written announcement from the Central Bank of Iraq outlining the policy change, effective date, and operational details. That is the switch. Not a social media post, not a private insider message, not a rumor about a rate. When a central bank makes a formal declaration, international clearing systems begin updates, correspondent banks adjust internal procedures, foreign exchange desks receive guidance, Settlement protocols are modified. That institutional response is what confirms activation. Everything before that is preparation. It's also important to understand that major currency transitions are rarely dramatic overnight events. In many, his